What's good, y'all? I already know where y'all at. It's your boy Star Jones, and it's a new episode of Star Views. It's about to start right now. So please, I hope you got your hookah ready, and I hope you got your cups full of whatever ready, because I got a lot to talk about, alright? Know what's going on. Star Jones, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Please and thanks, you heard? Excited to be here as always. Thank you for joining me. Before I get into anything, I just want to apologize for not dropping an episode for the movie Spiral, a book, a chapter in Soul, however it goes. Again, as I mentioned, I was on vacation and I was basking in the sun, having a good time, and didn't really make my way to the theaters to see Spiral, so I apologize. I'm going to try to figure out a way to make amends and compensate for that lost episode. I know I mentioned Cruella in my chapter episode for May, and I said I wasn't too sure if I'm going to see it, but I think I'm going to see it and actually do an episode of Star Views just because I didn't put out something for Spiral, so I'm sorry. Today, we're going to be talking about Netflix's Army of the Dead, starring Dave Bautista, Amari Hardwick, directed by Mr. Zack Snyder, Snyderverse himself. This came out on Netflix Friday, May 21st, because I don't know when you guys are going to watch this, which was yesterday for me. But, I checked it out. It was 2.5 hours. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about what happened. You know what I'm saying? But first, I'm going to go get me a drink. I won't be smoking hookah with you guys because, again, as I mentioned, I was on vacation. And when I left, I didn't have hookah. And I didn't remind myself to get any. So I don't have any in the crib at this moment. So I apologize. But you guys are more than welcome to smoke hookah as always. You know I'm appreciate that. But I will get a drink with y'all. I will sip with y'all, I guess pregame on this lovely Saturday. So I'll be back in a second. Let me get my coat right, all right? Bet. Told you I was going to drink with y'all, right? But anyway, Army of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder, starring Dave Bautista and Amari Hardwick. So this is pretty much your typical zombie film. I don't want to really call it a post-apocalyptic movie because those movies tend to deal on a larger scale as far as like worldwide. Like the whole world is affected by whatever plague, virus, zombie outbreak, etc. occurred. This movie was kind of centered, not kind of centered, it was only centered in the city of Las Vegas. So, I don't really want to say post-apocalyptic because, again, on the larger scale of things, no one was affected outside of the city of Las Vegas. But anywho, so when the movie begins, we're introduced to this convoy of soldiers traveling with this particular payload that is undisclosed to the audience initially. We're also introduced to this couple that was newlyweds. They just got married in the city of Las Vegas. They're heading in one direction, the newlyweds, and the convoy of soldiers is heading in another direction. So throughout the first 5 minutes of the film, the vantage point perspective changes from the newlyweds to these two particular soldiers in the convoy. And once we pan back, in one particular scene, we pan back to the newlyweds, and the wife is excited to be a wife, so she decides to reward her husband with fellatio. So, of course, I don't think fellatio and driving is in anyone's best interest, but as you could imagine, he's distracted and he crashes into the convoy. The payload hits the ground, which is like a shipping container. The door for the shipping container opens, and that's when we're introduced to our first zombie. This is not a spoiler at all because, again, this all happens in the first 5 minutes, and it doesn't really it doesn't really tell you how everything will transpire. So, that's just that. So we're introduced to our first zombie in the film. He begins to run through the convoy of soldiers, making light work of them. And he doesn't move like a typical zombie. When you see zombies, they be like, you know what I'm saying? But real lethargic and slow and like, on the spectrum type. But no, he was actually moving. He looked like an athlete. He was sitting there weaving, dodging, flipping dudes, all type, like he had a brain. Like his brain wasn't mush yet. I don't know. But anyway, so that is the events that lead up to the film and kind of sets the tone for what's to happen and transpire. And after that, we're introduced to our main characters, Dave Bautista, Amari Hardwick, and they give us like a little introduction to each character and what role they'll play in the film. So pretty much, like I said, we're introduced to these characters, and due to this outbreak of zombies in the city of Las Vegas, the city is forced to, take drastic measures as far as evacuating the city and creating this camp. I want to say concentration camp because that's so negative, but think about, and this sounds bad, but think about the camps that our last presidential campaign had, and all the people was upset about, with the families being separated, with ICE and all of that. It was something like that, because again, due to the zombie outbreak, families were divided because they was running in different directions. The army, the police force, and everybody had to go into the city and try to exterminate this problem before it got crazy. So, and also because of this virus outbreak, the zombie virus outbreak, the citizens of Las Vegas, the residents of Las Vegas, couldn't leave. So they set up these camps on the outskirts of the city while they dropped shipping containers around the city of Las Vegas to build like this wall, so to speak. So this wall borders the entire city, and immediately outside the border, you had these camps for, the displaced residents of Las Vegas. So we pretty much see Dave Bautista's character. He has a daughter in the film, and she's a volunteer in said camp. And she pretty much grows to liking this particular family and helping them out whenever she can. And then Dave Bautista, he's like this former soldier, works at a diner. He's approached by this, millionaire, and he sells him on this opportunity that, there's money in the third floor of my hotel. 50 million, I believe, is the number. And I will let you have, I think it's 200 million. I'm going to give you 50 if you get in there, get it for me, and bring it back to me. You get 50 million. You can divide it up amongst your people however you want. So that's the movie. It's Dave Bautista. I'm going in there, get this bread. My daughter has other interests because a family member, a particular member of a family, she, has a lot of passion for it. So she wants to go inside the city of Vegas to find that family member, because I didn't mention that. She goes into the city to find something that's important to her. So now the daughter's like, I got to find her. We can't leave her in there. And then, again, Dave Bautista and his group, they want to go in there and get the money. So you got two different parties going there for two different reasons. And then the salt on the steak, the icing on the cake, the government has said they're going to nuke the city of Las Vegas to rid the city of the zombie outbreak out, period. Like, nothing else to talk about. Las Vegas is out of here. It's no longer going to be on the map. It no longer exists. And this is all going to happen while they are in the city doing what it is that they're doing. So that is the movie, all while having to fight off zombies and zombie animals. So that's the movie. 2.5 hours. Zack Snyder, Dave Bautista, Amari Hardwick. When I come back, I'm going to let you know how I rate the film and whether or not you guys should see it. All right? So I'll be back in a second. So we back, and we're at that part of the show where we like to let you know whether or not you should spend your hard-earned dollars. And whether or not, if you don't have a Netflix subscription at this time, if you should get one just to see this movie or not. So, but before I get into the actual rating, I always like to tell you guys, come on, Bruce. I like to tell you guys whether or not, well, not whether or not, but the pros and cons of the film, because that always gives you a better idea of what to expect. And when I say my sentiments, you get it. Like, okay, I understand why he's saying whether or not I should see the movie or not. So, with that said, I'm going to start with the pros. Is Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is the man. He's the man responsible for a lot of the good DC films, and there aren't a lot. Speaking more so about the Snyder Cut, 300 was another movie on his resume that I just learned about. That was an amazing film. We all loved it. Action-packed, gory, fighting was intense. He was responsible for Dawn of the Dead also, which was another zombie movie that came out in the early 2000s. I didn't know he was a part of that, but yeah, he directed that as well. So this is not his first rodeo with the whole zombie stuff. So the fact that Zack Snyder was a part of it was a big pro. It definitely reeled me in. And the fact that, you know, Zack Snyder, I think Zack Snyder has like established himself as one of the better directors in the film industry, and he has a certain style and a certain darkness to him, and dark always appeals to me. I don't know why, because I'm such a kind-hearted individual, but you know, I just like dark films. I don't know, the tonality of dark is just always appealing to me. Another pro, it's good to see Ghost, man. I was happy to see Ghost. Haven't seen Ghost in a long time, and I'm referencing Amari Hardwick, because again, like, I don't want to say he's typecast, but we really know him as Ghost now from Power. So, but it was good to see Amari back on the screen and doing what he does. I think he did I think he did a good job. I won't say okay. I think he did a good job with this role. Simple enough, especially for a person of his abilities. Dave Bautista, shout out to him, man. He's doing his thing, man. He started out with the whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing, and he's kind of, you know, stepping into his role and falling in line as far as what the WWE has done for their superstars like The Rock and John Cena. Dave Bautista is definitely up next, I think, as far as one of the big action stars. And again, he did his thing. He played his role. I think he did good for the capacity that he was casted for. So that was good. With those two characters, they both played to their abilities, and I think it was convincing. You know, another pro, I think. I like zombie movies, so off rip, like, you know, the zombie appeal was there. So, you know, that's like 2 for 2, dark and the zombie filled. So that's that. Now, as far as the cons are concerned, I have quite a few. One of the cons for me, in particular, is a lot of unanswered questions. And I don't know if Zack Snyder plans on dropping a sequel. Actually, I did read that there will be another installment in this universe. I don't know if it's a prequel or a sequel, but there will be something to follow. But there are a lot of unanswered questions as far as things that transpired in the movie, like where did this original zombie come from? Spoiler alert right now. There's a particular part in the film where we learn, and it's never said, but it's implied that the original zombie that we meet in the opening scene was able to conceive a baby with another zombie. And what zombie world do zombies have sex, 1, and then 2, are able to conceive? Last time I checked, zombies' bodies are deteriorating. They are falling apart by the minute. And they have to eat people and all that just to survive for another day or two. Like, it left me in a little... And I'm into zombie stuff. Like, Walking Dead, I know it. Up until Rick flew off in the helicopter. After that, it lost me and I stopped watching. But up until that point, I know zombie stuff. You know, I think I'm prepared for the zombie apocalypse if it was to come. But since when are they able to conceive? That's something I needed answers to. I did not get that in the film. So that was a problem for me. As far as the pacing, in the beginning of the film, they were told, Dave Bautista and his crew, they was told that you have X amount of days to gather your team, go inside the wall, get the money, and come back. But it was only like, I think it was like only 3 days before the bomb was going to go and fall into Las Vegas. So how they was able to just gather a team like this was kind of crazy. I think that was very quick. especially when you're doing a job that's so precise and that is tactical. You need to really plan this out. So that was a little fast for me. And then the end of the movie went by like this, and then but it kind of dragged a little bit. Like there's a portion of the ending where Dave Bautista jumps in a helicopter and the pilot is like, "Yo, how long do we have till we could say and he's like, "Well, we have about 9 minutes before the bomb hits." But in between those 9 minutes, so much happened. So for me, I'm like, it couldn't have been. It had to take at least 15 minutes. So the timing and the pace of the film was kind of wasn't consistent for me, and that bothers me. As I mentioned in my last video, I like even pace. I like for it to feel like nothing's rushed, nothing's fabricated or like exaggerated. Like I just wanted to feel like it's going smooth, and it didn't feel smooth. So that was one of my issues. There's a tiger in the movie. There's a horse in the movie. Both animals of which are animals. Have I seen animal zombies before? Yes. Resident Evil, you got the zombie dogs, you got the zombie crows, you got the big mutated alligators. Like, you know, I've seen zombified animals, but you know, at least in the Resident Evil lore, they explain the dogs, like how the dogs came about. You know, they was exposed to the outbreak, of course, but again, they dive a little deeper. But in this movie, we see a tiger that falls in line, like on command, and then a horse that it's just weird. And then again with the original zombie, he has this way of communicating with the other zombies. I've never seen a zombie movie where zombies could communicate with each other. So again, I need answers. As I said before, I need answers, and the movie didn't give me answers. The fact that he was able to conceive a zombie baby, he was able to communicate with the other zombies on cue, like he was able to tell them what to do, where to go, able to communicate with the zombie animals. It was just a lot of things like, this doesn't make sense, and I watch a lot of zombie stuff. So again, like as I said, my brain was kind of like, pfft. So anyway, yeah, my brain was mush, right? So anywho, so that was another gripe I had with the film. And then the time where they change for people who know zombie movies know what I'm talking about. For those, I'm gonna explain really fast. When you get bit by a zombie, if you don't die, like if they don't eat you to pieces to nothing, you come back. Even if you get bit, scratched, whatever, because now the virus goes directly into your bloodstream, and now you're eventually gonna turn. You'll have a fever. You'll start to sweat, and eventually the virus, plague, whatever, will kill you, and you'll immediately come back. And people in the film Army of the Dead were changing at a fast rate. Faster than others, slower than others. And I don't want to ruin that, but you'll notice, like, with two particular characters, one turned like this, while another one turned extremely long. Like, it took him quite some time to turn. So it was weird. And like I said, the pacing, it has to be consistent, and that was an example of something that bothered me. How did this individual turn relatively quickly, and that other individual was able to do so much before they actually turned? So, with that said, I'm going to rate the film and let you guys know. I'm gonna give this 6 stars. This wasn't some of Zack Snyder's best work. I mentioned a couple films that he's done that are a lot better. Dawn of the Dead was a better film than this was. And this came out, 15 plus years ago. And it's also a zombie movie. I think he did a better job with Dawn of the Dead because, again, I think Dawn of the Dead was a little bit more zombies that we're used to. Dumb, just looking to eat. Nothing extra, not being able to talk, conceive, and all that other stuff. I think, he's trying to do something else, and I'm sure Zack Snyder will explain in other movies, because, like I said, there is another movie anticipated to come out. I just don't know how, where it's going to fall in the timeline, whether it's going to be a prequel or sequel. So I'm sure he's going to give us the answers that I'm looking for, that we're looking for, but sometimes in that immediate film, I want to know what's going on, and I didn't really get that. So that's what really hurt me with the film. So I'm going to give it a 6. If you're into zombie movies, I'm always gonna tell people if you're into that particular genre, then you watch it because I think you'll still have some appreciation for it as I did. If you're a casual movie watcher, I don't think you should waste your time. If you're not into blood and gore, don't waste your time. Um, but six stars, and I'm cool with that. With that said, that's my time. I will see you guys next week with A Quiet Place 2. And I probably will do Cruella because I didn't do Spiral. So you might get 2 episodes for one next week. But again, Quiet Place 2 is coming out May 28th next week in theaters. So you have to go to the theaters to see it. Cruella is also coming out in theaters as well as Disney Plus Premiere. So if you don't want to go to the theaters, you can watch it at home, but you have to pay $30, I believe. All right, so that's my time. I appreciate you chopping up with me. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all hookah at home. I enjoyed my drink, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Oh, y'all still here? Appreciate y'all for sticking around, man. But I don't got no more hookah. But what I do have is more content on my YouTube channel. So please, if you haven't done so already, hit that red button and subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notified as soon as I post anything. All right? And if you haven't already followed me on social media, here's my information. Make sure y'all follow up. Appreciate it. Y'all still here, man. That's valid. Have a good one.